Urban farming can be fun. We're here to share with you today what we do with a large amount of blood oranges that we were able to pick from a friend's property. We were able to pick about 3 different trees, and those 3 trees netted us about 300 pounds of blood oranges. How do we preserve so much fruit? Well, we juice it, we freeze it, and we dehydrate it. We need to peel the orange in order to access the fruit, so we blanch the orange. Any size pot will do. Just boil the oranges for 3 to 4 minutes, and then you can see here how fast it is to peel them once you've done that. Notice I'm using a glove in my right hand because the citric acid in the oranges tends to really eat through to fingernails and your hands and your skin, so it's important to protect them. I have since gotten smaller gloves, which really helps, but you can see this is real time. I have not sped up this video. This is exactly how fast I'm able to peel these oranges, and the skin just lifts right off, and much of the pith, the white part between the outside and the inside, also peels right off as well. We didn't know that this was possible. We just tested it out to see it. We blanched so much other fruit that we thought, why not try and see if this will work? And it works just beautifully. Highly suggest you do it. In order to juice the oranges, this is what we ended up with. I just use old containers, and I have a juicer, a Jack LaLanne juicer. Any juicer will do. Once the oranges are peeled, we throw them all into Ziplocs. We do this over multiple days. You'll notice I have the clear container there, and it's on an angle with the little cutting board underneath it so that it goes under the spout, and that the juicer itself is on a little box to bring it to the right height. I put 1 to 2 oranges in at a time depending upon their size, and I just mow right through them. I've sped it up here so that you wouldn't have to wait through the whole process. And you'll notice I'm taking a little device to clear the channel to make sure that the juice can flow through easily. I'll show that more in just a moment here. I went through about 2 bags. Each bag has about 20 oranges in it. And you can see here everything's slowing down, so I'm a little concerned that there might be some stoppages, and when there is, everything overflows. So I just take a little crab meat thing and dig around in there and make sure everything's cleared. Once it's cleared, I go ahead and close off the channel with the little stopper that comes with the juicer, turn off the juicer. I don't fill everything up because in order to freeze it, it needs some headroom to freeze. I put it in the little container. It happens to have a little handle, which is great. And then I move on to the next container and fill that one up. I end up with a bunch of pulp. You can see the seed pieces in there, so it is important to use a juicer that will eviscerate the seeds or remove them. Then I go to freeze them. The blood orange is on the left, lemon is in the middle, and regular orange is on the right in this photo. I use a variety of containers. I don't know that I really care what containers I use. I also put them in my chest freezer. When I pull them out, they look like this. I defrost them for about a day, and they're ready to go. The next process we do is dehydrating the blood oranges. In order to do that, we take the peeled oranges, and what we want to do is we want to remove more of the white part. Do you see how clean these oranges are? But you see where there is actually some of these white stringy things that I'm pointing to? A little bit of that is okay, but the more of that you leave on, the more bitter it tastes. So what I discovered is if I just take a regular fingernail brush that you can get at the dollar store, and I go through, once I've peeled the oranges, and I clean them up using the fingernail brush, and obviously this is speeded up just to make life easier for everybody. And I take as much of the white parts off as I can. Don't need to take it all off, just as much as I can, just to clean it up so that it will taste sweeter overall. Now, once everything's been cleaned, when it comes to dehydrating oranges, I go through and I section them. Now, these oranges, you can see that I have to go through and work at it a little bit to section it. And if we can take the little white part off the middle, try to do that as well. This orange seems to be sectioning okay, fairly well. The sections actually go into the container that's right below where I'm sectioning. The whole oranges are in the black container in front of me, And you'll notice the white container off to the right of me. What that is those are oranges that didn't section well. See how this one looks a little dry? It's difficult to section. This one looks like it's okay right here. Let's see what the next one looks like. See, it just kind of comes apart. I just throw that right into the white one. I can use those for juicing, or I can use them for freezing. So anything that goes into the white container at that point becomes something that I can actually use to juice or freeze. And when I freeze my oranges, I put them in half and I just throw them in a Ziploc bag. Again, about 20 oranges fit in a bag. And I just throw them in a Ziploc freezer bag, throw them directly into the freezer, just like that, from their normal room temperature. I don't try to make them freeze individually or anything like that. And you can see the process here for sectioning, and then I'm speeded this up. And you'll notice I took some of that white part off because, again, we want it to not be so pithy, and the pith is what makes it bitter. The other thing we do, which I can show you a picture of later in this video, is we make blood orange marmalade. There is a whole section of, and again, you can use the items that are in the white tub that I'm selecting out as the white tub to make blood orange marmalade. Just follow a normal orange marmalade recipe. We've done some research on it. It appears as if the temperature is really important in order to make it gel right. So go ahead and do some research on that, but I'll show you a picture at the end of this video of our beautiful blood orange marmalade. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the recipe we use specifically is sweeter because there's less pith in it. This is a picture of the frozen oranges, and if they're small enough, I just leave them whole. Otherwise, they just go directly into my chest freezer. We use these oranges to make our fruit and veggie shakes throughout the year. Once everything is sectioned, we put it through a citric acid wash for 10 minutes. Just read the directions on that. Strain them out. And then we put them on the dehydrating trays directly. You'll notice the tray, the silver tray that's below the dehydrating tray. That's just to catch the drippings, to not make a mess out of everything, and it helps us to transport it from the kitchen where we're doing this process to the garage. You'll notice how pretty those oranges are. Much of the pith and the white is removed. My husband will go through and he will actually, as he's sectioning the oranges, take the pith part off of the outside and the inside at the same time. I personally use the little fingernail brush and remove it that way. You'll notice he's getting about 6 sections one way, and it looks like about 12 sections the other day, and then he organizes it such that he can fit just a little bit extra right there on the end. It then goes into the food dehydrator. We're able to use all 9 trays. They take about 2, sometimes 3 days. He likes to dry them hard so we can keep them throughout the year. Gets very flat. And here he is with his dehydrated trays. We put them in Ziploc bags, throw them in our food storage area, and we're ready to go for the year for snacks. Here's our beautiful marmalade. The marmalade on the left was not cooked at the correct temperature, so it did not gel correctly, even though we did use pectin. The one on the right we did. The one on the right is a single recipe. The ones on the left are a doubled recipe, so we'll either leave it the way it is or reboil it and recan it. But isn't that just beautiful marmalade? We love getting an excess of fruit and figuring out how to use it. So thank you for joining us on our journey today with how to preserve excess oranges for future enjoyment.